Welcome to TSO Daily Dose. Today we have something a little different for you. We have a reimagining of the classic children's story, Red Riding Hood. It was done by one of our violinists, and to talk to me about it today is Alison Lazaroff-Somssich. Welcome, Alison.
Hi, Mitch.
So I used the word done, but you've done an incredible amount for this Red Riding Hood, including this wonderful backdrop here. We are in Grandma's kitchen. Tell me how you undertook this process of rewriting the whole story.
One of my favourite things of being in the TSO is going to schools where little kids are sitting right near you and you play. And watching their expressions, watching them wriggle, it's just really exciting. It's one of the best things of my time in the TSO. And I always wanted to do something that would make it really, really fun for a small group to go to a school. And normally we get a quartet together or something, we play a few little pieces and we talk about our instruments, which is really good,
It's
of
really
course,
good, but it can be a bit dry.
I thought, why not make it much more fun and the musicians can wear costumes? And musicians wearing costumes, automatically it's, oh, wow! Because we're not really dry people. We like to have fun too. Yeah. So then I got this idea that I wanted to create a little story that needed costumes and that would have music. So then it took me a few years actually, just sort of going around in my brain. But I thought, well, I tried a few sort of Australiana type stories with Australian animals, but somehow I needed a wolf.
Yeah, that's, the Australian baddie animals are sort of snakes and they're a bit too scary. A wolf is a classic.
I love wolves. I've always had this thing about the big bad wolf.
Yeah, right.
Because one of my other passions is children's literature. Okay. And downstairs in my house I have bookcases and bookcases of wonderful children's books. And I always sort of tend towards the English or the European style sort of children's books. And I love big bad wolves because I love them when they're sneaky and not really horrifically horrible. They're just fun. I like a slightly bad person in there somewhere. So then I thought Red Riding Hood would be the perfect story because everyone knows it, all ages, and you can relate. It's got three beautiful characters. It's got Red Riding Hood, who's obviously a lovely, happy little girl, and you've got the grandmother, who's a charming older lady who's looking forward to seeing her delightful grandchild, and you've got a wolf. Yep. And all the possibilities of what could happen with those three characters. One of the first things I decided was that the instruments, we'd obviously get three instruments from the orchestra. In how I've written it at the moment is for violin, French horn and bassoon, but theoretically you can use any instrument.
So each instrument plays a character in the
Each
story.
instrument plays one of those characters. And when we arrive at a school, the idea was that the musicians would go behind the curtain and play a few notes on their instrument. And the children would listen really carefully to see what sort of sound the instrument made and whether it was a grandmotherly sound, a Happy Red Riding Hood type of sound, or a wolf type
big bad
of
wolf
instrument.
sort of sound.
Yeah. So I wanted the children not to base their ideas about whether we had an enormous, gorgeous flautist, Lloyd.
Lloyd could be a big bad wolf. It would be he could pull it off musically. But
it's just I didn't want the look of the musician to influence the children's decision in any way as to what character they were going to play. Ideally, the children, we've got a narrator who is Will Newbury, who you've seen many times on the Daily Dose.
Yeah.
He's wonderful. And he gets the children to audition the instruments to see which instrument is going to play which character. And I've written it so that theoretically they can just turn to different pages in their music folders to be whichever character they are needed to be.
And do the themes stay the same? So the Big Bad Wolf theme is the same on the French horn as it would be on the piccolo or the flute?
I've just made it more to obviously adapt to their instrument.
So that's a lot of detail. You've basically written this out for every instrument in every combination in the orchestra.
I have. Cellos were a little bit more tricky, but I've done it, but just because they're not mobile on stage.
Sure.
The musicians never have to talk, but they act while they're playing, and they move and they fight, and they occasionally
so I noticed this prop. This is a crocheted...
A crocheted fry pan.
A crocheted fry pan. And what is that used for?
It's the grandmother. She's not she is a sweet older lady, but she also, when she needs to be, she can be very tough. And she knocks the wolf over the head with this fry pan several times.
This is amazing.
It's really fun. Actually, Mitch, I've got the costumes there, and I wondered if sometime you could...
So, would you like to dress up as the Big Bad Wolf, considering you love Big Bad Wolves so much?
No, I'd like you to.
This is a bit of a cliche, but we can do that.
No, but first of all, you have to be Red Riding Hood.
Okay, sure. So we're back in costume, and as you can see in Alison's version of Red Riding Hood, even a bass trombonist can be Little Red Riding Hood if the children choose their adventure that way. Tell me about this clip that we're going to see. It's a very early version.
It was an extremely early version. Actually, my first version I tried was with these little, I made little figurines out of baking clay, and I needed to work out, rights coming on right of stage, left stage left, all that sort of thing. I had to work out how the characters would interact considering they're playing instruments, and how to move around the stage. So I did a little version with these, and then I went big time with the sock puppet version, where I went to the tip shop and got lots of old bits of old socks and materials, and I made a little thing out of a box.
You made a little theatre?
I made a little theatre out of a piece of cardboard, and I suggest that any kids at home watching this make puppets. It's so much fun, and you could even make your own puppet show to this music.
I think this is a great idea in the sort of lockdown and the people staying at home a lot with the kids.
Be creative, have fun. You can make these out of Play-Doh, little figurines out of Play-Doh.
So that's great. So, let's, we had the Hallelujah sing-along. How about we have the Red Riding Hood play-along at home?
Do your own puppets.
Well, that's
really fun. Or just dress up like us.
Well, what a way to start the day on the TSO Daily Dose. So in this clip, you're doing everything. Not everything, because there's three hands at one stage. So
I had to rope in my son Theodore to be one of the hands at one stage.
In the sock puppets?
In the sock puppets, because I only had two hands. And I also was using a recording that I'd made on the Sibelius, which is a computer program which generates orchestral instrument sounds. It's much nicer, obviously, in the real version. And and I narrated it as well. So it's pretty much.
You did the characters' voices, you did the narration, and you arranged the music and. I think we hear you sometimes clicking the music.
A button to go to the next track, because I don't know how to use computers properly. So I needed obviously a lot of tech help. It was a whole learning experience. And it's just been wonderful, and one of the most rewarding things that I've ever done.
Well, you've done a wonderful
TSO.
job, and I think the TSO are so happy to have someone like you that can create this thing that we can take to the community.
Well, it was just so much fun.
Thank you so much for coming in today, Alison, and letting me dress up and telling us all about Red Riding Hood. We hope you really enjoyed today's clip of the reimagining of Red Riding Hood, written, directed and arranged by Alison Lazaroff-Somssich.
Red Riding Hood, Scene 1, The Woods. It's a beautiful morning. The sun is shining. The birds are singing. Red Riding Hood skips through the woods on her way to visit her grandmother. She is happy and carefree as she follows the path between the tall trees. However, unbeknownst to Red Riding Hood, lurking behind one of the tree trunks is a large, sneaky wolf. He spies the little girl with her basket of goodies, and into his mind comes a dastardly plan. Wolf puts on his best smile and pops out in front of Red Riding Hood. "Oh, hello, little girl. Fancy meeting you here in my forest. Pray, where might you be off to on this beautiful morning?" Red Riding Hood politely explains that she is on her way to visit her grandmama, who lives all alone in a cottage deep in the middle of the woods. "Oh, dear child, it is so fortunate that you happened to bump into me this morning," lied the sneaky wolf, "because I know these woods like the back of my paw. And if you just follow that path way over there, you will be at your dear old grandmama's much sooner." "Oh, thank you, kind sir," says Red Riding Hood, and she skips off through the trees. The wolf looks exceedingly pleased with himself and laughs and licks his lips as he daydreams about his upcoming lunch. Scene 2, Grandmama's Cottage. Grandmama is sitting in her favourite chair by the fire. She is so looking forward to having her lovely granddaughter drop in for a visit this morning. The cottage is warm and cosy, and Grandmama is just happily dozing off when suddenly there is a loud knocking at the door. Oh, Red Riding Hood, is that you, my dear? The wolf chortles. Then, putting on his highest squeaky voice, says, "Oh, yes, dear Grandmama. It's me, Red Riding Hood." Grandmama slowly gets up and shuffles to the door. "Oh, just one moment, dearest. This latch is a bit stiff." "Oh, no!" Grandmama hits the wolf over the nose with her trusty fry pan. Wolfie is dazed and dizzy and faints into Grandmama's chair. Grandmama, who feels better than she has done for years, quickly escapes by climbing out of the window. Slowly, the wolf awakens and is very annoyed. His pride and his nose are hurt. But he puts on Grandmama's spare cap and he covers himself with her blanket and begins looking forward to his tasty lunch, who should be arriving very soon. Oh no, I can hear Red Riding Hood. Red Riding Hood knocks on the door. I said knocked on the door. "Who is it?" quavers the wolf in his best grandmotherly voice. "It's me, Grandmama, Red Riding Hood." "Just come on in, dear." The wolf quietly sniggers. Red Riding Hood enters the cottage. "Oh, Grandmama, you don't look at all well." The wolf almost chuckles, but turns it into a cough. "Grandmama, what big eyes you have." "Grandmama, what big ears you have." "Grandmama, what a big nose you have." "Grandmama, what big teeth you have." "All the better to in and clonked the wolf on the nose again. Wolfie staggers out of the cottage and into the woods, feeling very sorry for himself. Red Riding Hood and Grandmama are so happy to see each other. And do you think that great shaggy wolf ever bothered them again? Well, the wolf decided it was a lot less trouble to eat carrots and potatoes and ice cream, and he became vegetarian. And from that day forward, he was a good wolf most of the time.